Hello, sir. Today we are going to present applications of nanotechnology in wastewater treatment. Nanotechnology and wastewater treatment. Wastewater treatment generally consists of four treatments: preliminary treatment, primary treatment, secondary treatment, and tertiary treatment. Tertiary treatment generally shows disinfection. We will deal with three case studies. Now, Rohini will tell her case study.
I'm here to present the application of CO2 nanoparticles for degradation of azote conglomerate. Coming to the introduction, Congo red dye is being used as a model dye to investigate the catalytic activity of the CO2 nanostructures. The synthesis particles is being shown in the 1A figure, nanoparticles, nanorods, and mixture of nanoparticles and nanorods. The 1B figure shows the display of water having Congo red before and after the treatment with CO2 nanostructures. Color disappearance is mainly due to the destruction of the azo bonds and naphtha rings of the dye. Then the experimental study being studied here is first one, degradation of Congo red with different CO2 nanostructures. Figure 2A, B, C keeps the absorbance when used with UV visible spectrophotometer. The degradation was observed to be highest for nanorod with efficiency of 97%, and it took 90 minutes for the disappearance of color, and it took 5 minutes for the nanorods. And it was observed to be highest for the nanorods mainly due to the largest surface area provided for it, and the surface to volume ratio was also higher, giving the highest degradation other nanoparticles. Then coming to the effect of concentration of the dye degradation. Figure 3ABC shows the degradation rate constants which were observed to be decreasing with the increase in the initial concentration of the dye. This is mainly due to the accumulation of the dye molecules that is absorbed on the nanoparticle structure, which decreases the catalytic efficiency of it for the further degradation. And it was observed to be the degradation effect was observed to be highest for the nanorods and than the other nanoparticles and mixture of nanoparticles and nanorods. The experimental studies were considered with all the concentration ranges ranging from different values of 250 to 15 mg to 250 mg, and it was observed to be highest for nanorods with largest surface area and surface to volume ratio was higher. This is the main reason behind it. And effect of CO2 nanostructures quantities on the degradation of CO2. For the effect of the CO2 nanostructure quantities, it was observed that from figure 1, 4 ABC, it was observed that for the nanorods, it was showing the highest degradation, which was observed to be increased from 4.4 to 99%, with increase in the amount of nanostructures from 10 milligrams to 250 milligrams. This percentage of degradation increased mainly due to the number of active sites available for the absorbing the dye molecules onto the catalyst surface. The degradation rate constant was found to be highest for the nanorods, while the second highest was for the mixture of nanoparticles and nanorods, and then the next highest was for nanoparticles. Finally, it was observed that CO2 nanoparticles are found to be efficient in generating less toxic secondary pollutants, which can be easily eliminated from the system by being subjected further to traditional physical, chemical, and biological treatments. Next, Renza will be continuing with the further case study.
The next case study is application of mesoporous carbon capsules encapsulated with magnetite nanoparticles in wastewater treatment. Under this case study, the absorption capacity of mesoporous carbon capsules encapsulated with Fe3F4 is investigated for different dyes and also a comparison study between carbon capsules and conventionally available activated carbon and silicon oxide encapsulated with Fe3O4 is done. Figure 5 indicates the synthesis of carbon capsules encapsulated with Fe3O4. Coming to the experimental part, analysis, the UV absorption spectroscopy measurements were performed to determine the concentration of pollutants before and after absorption. As illustrated by figure 6, the removal of methylene blue was observed and it was found that around 92.6% removal was obtained in 5 minutes and about 99% removal in 10 minutes of processing time. And compared to the activated carbon, showed only 61% removal in 5 minutes. So, the inference from this can be made that the higher or faster removal rate in carbon capsule was because of the higher surface area and large pore volume of the mesoporous hollow structure. A comparison was done with different adsorbents for removal of different types of dye from water. The dyes that was being used was methylene blue, Congo red, and phenol. And the adsorbents that was being used was carbon capsules encapsulated with Fe3O4, conventionally available activated carbon, and silicon oxide encapsulated with Fe3O4. And as it can be observed from figure number 7, that methylene mesoporous carbon capsule illustrated the maximum absorption capacity in all the three dyes, indicating that it has higher absorption capacity compared to other dyes. So, coming to the conclusion part, it can be concluded that mesoporous carbon capsules afford a remarkably enhanced absorption rate, higher absorption capacity, and higher removal efficiency for organic pollutants from aqueous solution as compared to the single activated carbon host due to their higher surface area and large pore volume. Next, Sai Krishna will deal with the next case study. Thank you.
Third case study is about the bactericidal paper impregnated with silver nanoparticles for wastewater treatment. Antimicrobial property of the silver nanoparticles was tested in the wastewater treatment. Introduction. This was a setup schematic diagram of the third case study. The wastewater effluent enters from here and goes from here, and between we have silver nanoparticles on the blotter paper. This method was developed to deactivate pathogenic bacteria using silver nanoparticles. Silver nitrate solution was reduced in situ on the cellulose fibers on adsorbent blotting paper. The main motto was to inactivate the bacteria rather than removal from effluent by filtration. The AGNPS sheets exhibited bactericidal properties towards suspension of Escherichia coli and Enterococcus facilis, and the log reduction values in the effluent were log 6 and log 3 respectively. As silver is a toxic metal in the water, there is a minimum limit set by WHO and US EPA for silver, and in this case it was under 0.1 ppm, which is permittable. Now outcome. This is the figure. Figure 10 depicts the relative absorbance of permeate at 600 nanometer during the first few hours of Escherichia coli bacterial growth. A shows the positive control, that is no silver in the paper. B is negative control, no bacteria added to the permeate. C is 1.6 silver per gram of paper, and D is 2.3 milligrams of silver per gram of paper. E is 5.7 milligram silver per gram of paper. Inference from this experiment was the negative control sample shows no growth, whereas the positive control sample shows the beginning shows the beginning of the exponential growth curve. There was almost no bacterial growth after percolation through AGNPS paper, which entailed that bacteria was on the verge of complete deactivation. The blotter paper was further The blotter paper was subjected to further tests. After percolation through paper was passed on to nutrient agar plates. The plate count experiments depicted log 7.6 and log 3.4 reductions of viable E. coli and E. facilis bacteria, respectively, in the effluent as compared to the initial concentration of 109 CFU per ml. CFU is colonies forming units. The AGNO3 paper showed the best bacterial reduction overall, with the log reduction of 8.7 for E. coli and 6.5 for E. facilis. But this is presumably due to the facile elution of silver salt from the sheet and its continuing bacterial action in the effluent. This figure 11 represents the same. To the conclusions, the antimicrobial or antibacterial action of AGNPS paper has not been tested in the real world situation or on a large scale operation. On a large scale operation, there persists a wide spectrum of other organic, inorganic, and colloidal contaminants. The results depict that AGNPS render an effective biocidal action when bacteria percolate through the paper. It is anticipated that this method would provide the basis for a water purification method that is light, cheap, and easily deployed in an emergency. The three case studies are a small testimony to the fact that nanomaterials will become critical components of industrial and public water purification systems. They can reduce the level of contaminants to ppb levels. These are the references for the case studies. Thank you.